Hi. Hi. Congrats. You did it. You did it. You pressed play on a podcast called I Swear on My Mother's Grave. Out of all the shows you could possibly listen to and topics to explore, you chose this one. So thanks for being here. You might be a regular listener coming back for season 2, or you might be listening for the first time, or a friend told you about the show and said, hey, you should check this show out. You might like it. And so you press play, even though you were wondering, like, I don't know. Am I up for this emotional journey today? Will this be too heavy? I mean, I have an 11 a.m. dentist appointment. Is this going to be too much emotional labor before I get my teeth cleaned? And I get it. You're not alone in your hesitation or your fear around listening to people talk about the loss of their complicated moms. But this show isn't just about our moms. It's about you. The living, the person who's listening, the child, the mother, the daughter, the son, the friend, the aunt, the person left. It's for you. I started this podcast in the early days of the pandemic because, well, the truth is I never really got into bread making. And I knew I wanted to start talking more openly about my anger and shame around my relationship with my mother. And I also wanted to feel less alone in those feelings in a time of deep isolation. But what I really, really wanted was to learn how to forgive her and ultimately forgive myself. And I'm getting there. It's a journey. But I do know that I have way more love for her than I did 2 years ago. And I think if she was here today, my mom would say that she has even more love for me too. So we are back, season 2, baby, back with more bold, funny, vulnerable conversations about the loss of our complicated mothers, and not just in death. Okay, that's my tagline. I'm working on it. So there you go. When I decided to start working on season 2, I was vaccinated, right? And the world was opening up more. And I decided I wanted to try to do more interviews in person. I wanted to hug people and process and laugh and talk in real physical space. I also wanted to sit on my 95-year-old Nana's vintage upholstered pink chair while I was doing it. So I found a little space in Evanston, Illinois, outside Chicago. I got some gear and a desk off Facebook Marketplace, and I started inviting people in. And the first person I sat across from this past April was Lauren Montgomery. She's an actor and a friend of mine in Chicago and a theater professor at Truman College. She's sassy, wise, red-haired, honest, and talks fast. She talks about as fast as I did because we were so excited to be together in person again for this conversation. And as a new mother, I think Lauren was just happy to be out of the house. In this episode, we talk about my upcoming wedding on the patio of my Nana's nursing home, which happened just this past June. Yay, I did it. And how to manage a big life moment like that without your mother by your side. How romantic relationships are modeled to us by our folks. And what do you do when your own mother asks you to be her maid of honor? Thanks for press and play. I'm so glad you're here. This is Lauren Montgomery. Hi.
Hi.
Yay, we're doing it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, it's exciting. So you know that I am about to get married.
Yes.
In June. And we've talked, because we're friends, we've talked off the mic and stuff about my fear of marriage and like whether or not I want to do it. And, you know, was my parents' divorce after 37 years a reason why I believe that love never lasts? And, you know, I'm scared of committing. But I've obviously come around and I've had therapy and she's silent laughing. She's a silent laugher, Lauren.
Yeah.
But so we've come around and we've done pros and cons and all the things about why I want to get married and why Jonathan is the right person for me, because he is. But I'm still anxious to make such a big commitment. I mean, buying a house is a commitment, but also getting married is a commitment because it feels like forever. So if I treat it like, if I just keep choosing him one day at a time and I don't treat it like this is forever and we take that language out, which we might in our vows take.
Oh, we did. We took that out.
I'm taking that out, you know. But if it's like I'm choosing him every day, it feels more manageable and that it's a commitment to him every day, right?
Yes, that's a positive way to
And
look
it can
at.
be a celebration of what you already have instead of,
And you've been together for a decade.
yes. And he makes me dinner every night. Like, who am I kidding? You know?
Right. But I understand your apprehension. I come from a mother who was married 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
It was not, and that is the
To not a lot of, yeah. How much time are we going to talk about these not winners?
well, it's so hard. Like, it's just complicated, but it definitely skewed my feelings about marriage. And my stepdad is a good man who's struggled with some mental health issues. So that was the challenge there. But certainly my biological father and certainly my mom's last husband are not good people or have made really poor decisions that have affected my life. And that is
your mom's.
Yes, and my mom's. And unfortunately, like, that's the negative part of the legacy is that I still have to deal with all 3 of these people in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a real challenge. Also, it made me apprehensive about marriage as well. I mean, what is the national average? You get married at 23 or something? I know that's absurd, but it is.
I left my wallet in a cab like every day in my 20s. In my 20s.
I mean, I was the hottest mess, so I can't imagine. And I was 36 when I got married, and that seemed right.
Okay.
That seemed right, if not young.
And my mom died at 36. I'm just trying to think, like, I was 36, lost my mom, but now I'm getting married early 40s.
Mm-hmm. And I think that seems right. And your apprehension is nothing but healthy. Like, I think if you go into it,
okay.
I knew I was nervous about marriage. I wasn't nervous about the person, which is what I'm hearing from you.
Yes,
right?
I'm pointing at her. I'm pointing. Yes, that's it.
Ding, ding, ding.
So during therapy, we did an exercise where we had to look at our parents' marriage or our maternal figures in our life, how love was modeled to us at a young age, and what we saw and what we aspired to. And of course, I saw a lot of love and I saw this commitment, and they seemed to be best friends. And my mom helped my dad in his career while she had her own career, and she was this perfect mom, but that's also her own disease of perfection and trying to be this perfect person.
Yeah.
And you can't be perfect all the time. And then they outgrew each other, and there were other issues and, depression. And so you go, oh, well, they seemed so good at the front. So that Jonathan and I seem great. So who knows in 20 years if it all falls apart? But again, we don't know what's coming. We don't know what's coming tomorrow. The world is burning. So I guess I keep thinking I can control it. I can control this relationship, or if I can see the future, I'll know it's the right thing to do.
But wouldn't you consider your parents' marriage a success ultimately?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. And they were great to me. They were good parents.
Yeah, good parents. And that it ultimately didn't work out. But
and my dad found love again with a new person. And I'm so happy for him. And my mom didn't.
But does that feel like, when you look at it, does it scare you because it feels like their divorce contributed to your mom's?
Yes.
Yeah, that's hard.
For sure.
Decline.
She never got over it.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't have. She was already in a place where she wasn't getting over really anything. She was reliving the past, even when they were together, and blaming him for things. And there was a lot, there was a lot going on. And I really want to interview my dad, but,
And that's
not
a big
yet.
one.
Not yet. He knows.
He knows. He knows he's on the list.
Yeah.
He's on the short list.
But looking at your mom's legacy of choices that she made, which, were complicated, how did that affect you choosing Blake, your current husband?
Yeah, I mean,
and wanting to be married. Yeah.
Yeah, I think as, a Cancer, born in June, there is something about wanting...
Jonathan's a Cancer.
wanting that home, right?
Yeah.
There's something that feels safe about building a home and creating a family. And I think with Blake, it was timing. If I'd met him 10 years earlier, he would have been like, no way. Not because of me necessarily, but...
Where he was at.
Wanting the things that I wanted, because he was so deep in his career and pursuing everything and being so ambitious. And I think we wouldn't have been syncing up. But I think both of us had spent a few years single and, not just alone, but starting to feel lonely, truly lonely. And when we met each other, it was a blind date set up by a friend, Chelsea. And it really was just, to use the improv terms, it was a real yes and situation, which I'd not had maybe ever, right? I dated all kinds of wrong. Like, if you ask my friend Christy, she'll say every shade of wrong.
Give me a shade. Give me a shade.
Well, one of them, but it was about let's find somebody who is emotionally unavailable, but who's magnetic and charismatic. And let's see if you can get them to love you. And if you can, you're totally worthy.
Can I change them? Can I get them to be into me?
And when I was in my 20s, I had a long-term relationship with someone in their 50s. And no, most of the time, those are not really unhealthy situations. But because I didn't have, strong father figures or felt a little disconnected, in my early years, I think I was always going to strive for, and I was going to look for that relationship. And I just feel so blessed that I found that relationship and that it was healthy. Mm-hmm. So we were together for 5 years and I learned a lot. I learned how to love from this person, and he could have taken advantage of me. And he didn't. And by the end, he said, look, we've got to break up because you've got to have more experiences. You've got to blossom. Like, this isn't right for you. And it was a really eye-opening and wonderful relationship. I need to be loved like that by somebody who was older, I guess. Mm-hmm. I was going to seek that out. And I'm just grateful I found someone who didn't abuse that power dynamic and who genuinely loved me.
Did your mom know him?
Yes, she did. She didn't know about the relationship. It was pretty under wraps the whole time. I did tell her about it later. And she was, I don't know, she was feigning, shock and awe about it. But, it was healthy for me and I have no regrets about it. But yeah, I think for me, that was a really beautiful experience. And I think those are rare in that situation. And I wouldn't recommend people get into that situation. But for me, it was really good. He wrote me a letter probably 6 months ago, even, or an email just saying hey, I'm so glad you're happy and married and have this wonderful baby. And I never stopped loving you, but knew that you needed to have your life and you couldn't blossom in this way because I wouldn't be able to give you the things that you wanted.
Wow.
It was really absolutely beautiful.
But even when I said right now, I said, did your mom know about this guy? Did she know about this situation? Then part of me was like, well, she made such complicated choices sometimes in her life. Like, do we even want, were there times you didn't want your mom's advice because you were like, how could I trust you if you were picking some?
Well, that's right. I don't know if she made the connection that the reason I had that relationship was because of her choices. And it was kind of the first thing that I had that was just mine. I didn't want to tell her about it while it was happening. It was none of her business. I felt like this was my first time individuating, becoming my own person. I think it was like me separating from her because she and I were incredibly close until I was in my 20s. Mm-hmm. We didn't have that teenage angst, crunchy time until later.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I think, and her choices, my biological father, they separated when I was 2 months old. My mom kind of ran away. It sounds like he was pretty verbally abusive. And after she died, I found some letters that I thought were threatening and unkind. And he's just tried to, maybe not he's not doing it, but his current wife is trying to get in touch with me. And I'm not quite sure why. And I need to do some more digging as to what's behind that.
Through Facebook? Through letters? Or she
found my address somewhere and has sent me articles about my biological father and books. And he's still alive, it seems like. So I'm not sure what's going on.
Huh.
That's weird. And then, my mom's last husband that was a whole tricky thing. Blake and I were together but we were just living together. And in November of 2015, my mom was diagnosed with bladder cancer. And she was married to a man. They'd only been married, I want to say 2 years at that point. I remember going to their wedding. I was 33. I really needed highlights in my hair, but I couldn't afford them. I had to be the maid of honor in my mom's wedding for the second time.
You were the maid of honor in your mom's wedding?
Oh, yeah. Twice when I was 7 and then once when I was 30.
Whoa. It's like a record stop. Wait, hold on. What? For real?
Yeah.
She chose her only child? She said, you're my maid of honor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What did you didn't do a toast at 7. You didn't plan a bachelorette
Which they didn't
party.
want. She didn't want that at 7 because it was her second wedding and it was
right.
And they were, they met at church and stuff. It wasn't particularly we didn't do all those things. I can't even remember. I don't think I ever knew if she went out with girlfriends to celebrate or any of that stuff. I don't even think she had that the first time. But the third time,
it's for the second, when you did it for the second time. Yeah.
Yes. I was I felt like I was 10 pounds overweight. I needed highlights. I couldn't get a date. I mean, I had dates on OkCupid, but they were terrible and in Wrigleyville, and nobody ever asked me for a second date, and it was a nightmare. And I was just feeling like pretty low, and yet here I am going to honor, celebrate, plan festivities for my mom's third wedding. I was in a rough spot.
Oh my gosh.
I had to really pull myself up.
Could you have said no? Was there a part of you that's like, no, I have to do this? She's asked me.
I don't think I ever thought there was a way to say no. No, I was, and I also didn't know how I felt about him, And also my mom was scared to tell me they were getting married, so she made him do it. And he was saying, I'm calling not to ask for your permission. I'm calling to ask for your blessing instead.
Tell me about that call. What did that call feel like? Tell me about it.
It was so weird. He said something like,
over the phone, not in person.
Yes, because I'm in Chicago and they're in California. So it was, I'm telling you I'm going to propose to your mom, and I'm not calling to ask for your permission, but I am calling to ask for your blessing. And I was like, okay, well, I have some caveats here. She's going to retire in a few years.
How old was your mom?
Oh, she was 63.
Okay.
When they got married, something like that. Yeah, 63. But I said, she's going to retire in a few years. And she's really into traveling. And please, can you help support that and make that happen? And I would love for her I need to see her at least twice a year. So I don't know if that means, can we make a trip out here, and can she, at least by herself, make a trip out here, and I'll come to you? And he said, okay. And then I said, also, I recognize that you're a former police officer, but I would really appreciate it as our daughter if you would not have a gun in the home. Right? Like, that really concerns me, and, whatever. And so he promised.
He said yes
to both of those things, which he
never did.
Correct. Neither of those things. And then I told, it was an interesting moment because she and I actually had one of our most thoughtful and honest, difficult discussions after that. Because I told her, I was like, look, I didn't feel comfortable that you put me in that position, that you had him call me instead of telling me yourself. She knew he was going to propose. And it was thoughtful. She apologized, and that really helped us move forward. And then, I thought, I really am going to have to give a toast. What the am I going to say? And I was at a play. I was at Theo Ubekwe watching some Andrew Lloyd Webber show, and this song, Love Changes Everything. And it's this huge ballad, and it's so cheesy. But I remember thinking, okay, this is it. She's in love, and it changes your whole thinking. And if you see it, and you didn't think you were going to get it again, because she'd been divorced for 10 years. And she'd had this wonderful life she'd curated for herself. And she really thought she'd be single for the rest of her life. And she was actually okay.
Because she was traveling with friends.
Her best friend. They were going to Ireland. They were going to Portugal. They were doing all these fun things. And she loved her job. She's a high school librarian. She was paying all the kids' high school college application fees. And she was taking them all up to visit schools. And she was just in her element. It was the best job. And she was very happy. And he came along, and I thought, okay, this was out of left field. She wasn't searching for it, and it happened to her. And I have to respect that. So I quoted this song, it changes everything. It makes the sky blue. It just colors your whole world in a way. And it came to her, right? So I was able to, make that toast in that way, to say, hey, I was nervous about this, but I see what's happened, and I want to respect this love, right? So I was able to behave and to support and to give the toast I needed to give.
How did she react to that?
I think she really appreciated it, that I was able to sort of get on board with this.
Even though
it was hard for me.
I can't believe I did not know this.
So,
and not to record stop it again, but then the sadness of that, though, right? It did change everything, and you were trying to see the positive.
Correct.
But the love, this new relationship, did change everything. I mean,
yes. Unfortunately, it really did. And
the sky turned blue, but then it turned really dark.
Purple again. Really dark.
Yeah, or it just was not.
I would say what I've come to realize in therapy is that there was absolutely abuse going on. Not until my mom got sick, though, I would say is the truth. I think the one thing he was not comfortable with is her spending time alone with her friends, which is a real red flag. So I would
that's
say
abuse of its own. That's
that was always the case.
Abuse.
But once she was sick and when she was terminal in particular, he had a really hard time letting her be alone. So anyway, 2015, she's diagnosed with bladder cancer. I got engaged about 8 months later, and she was undergoing surgery. And we thought, okay, this is we set a wedding date a year later. And so we were actually trying to give her enough time to feel more herself by the time we got married. But it didn't quite work out that way. But she was still like positive. We were getting married in May. January of 2017, she didn't make it to my bridal shower here, which she was supposed to come. And she
Where was she living again?
She's California.
California.
So Northern California. And then we're, here in Chicago. And she called me after that weekend and said that doctor said she was terminal, which is why she didn't make it out, because she was experiencing, all kinds of symptoms and pain. And
you're how many months out, weeks out?
4 months out, although they were very optimistic about her making it to the wedding. So we went, okay, this is what we're dealing with. We know we're going to lose her, but this could be a great last hurrah,
Yeah.
She had come out in that October and bought my wedding dress. I probably would have picked anything if she'd picked it out, right?
Yeah.
And shout out to David's Bridal, because that's great for not expensive.
Do you remember that trip with her?
Yes, it was hard because she was in a lot of pain and ran out of pain meds. And there was, and we called my friend Jackie, who's my mom's age, and she'd helped us figure it out and was with us when we got the dress. So there was I think she really needed another support person her age to understand exactly what she was going through. And it's hard because she was in a lot of pain. And so there were moments where she was mean,
Yeah.
And I think she was really clinging to her faith at this point, right? She was, I grew up in a pretty Christian household, but like California Christian. So I guess that means, we went to church every Sunday. My mom wasn't like evangelical in the way that she's always trying to convert people. I actually really respected her kind of quiet Christianity. She was generous. She was into prayer. She was into, forgiveness, like all the tenets that I think are really positive in religion most of my life. But as she got older, she got more conservative about it, especially because of her husband. Like it got a little bit like too tight, I guess, clinging. So, when we chose music for our wedding, she didn't like it because there were no hymns. There was nothing in there that was going to be religious because I was marrying an atheist, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what's happening. So I think she had a hard time supporting some of the aspects of the wedding. But anyway, the main thing is that she was getting sicker and sicker. And towards the wedding, and her friends called and said, one of her friends said, I really don't think she's up for traveling. And I thought, okay, in so many ways, it's too late for us to push it or change it.
Or like go to California.
Right. But I was like, what we could do is we actually could go the month before, which we did end up going, but she wouldn't hear of us holding a mini ceremony.
She wouldn't.
And because she needed to have that goal, I guess. And I thought, okay, well, the second option, she stays home. We didn't really deal with Zoom yet, but we were like, we'll FaceTime the whole thing. And she can be with her girlfriends. We'll all be around her, a glass of champagne, and she can see it. That was sort of that would have been what would have been my choice.
Yes.
But instead, her husband insisted on bringing her out as if it was like the last thing he promised her. And that sounds really noble, but it wasn't in her best interest. And I believe she suffered because of it. So he brought her out here to Illinois. She came a week before the wedding. She lasted 3 days and then ended up in a hospice care facility, which was incredible, out in Glenview. But for me, it was just
She wasn't at your actual
no
ceremony. Does it feel now you're coming to acceptance of it?
I think, the unfairness of the world is like, couldn't she have stayed healthy for one more month, right? Which was her anger about it as well, because there were moments where we could talk about it, sort of slipping away. I remember my last real conversation with her was in the hotel room. Her husband had gone to get a rental car or something, and we're in Evanston. It was sort of, we're laying on the bed, and it's like our last real, if I'd known. Gosh, if I had known. I think that's the thing people don't realize with cancer is that your person is gone long before they're gone. So there are only glimpses here and there, right? And so we had some precious time together, but that was truly the last, of course
What'd you talk about?
I'm like trying to remember. I kind of don't even remember. What I'm grateful for is that I think it was mundane things.
Yeah.
Which I was so happy about. Maybe the wedding details or something. I don't even remember. I have conflicting feelings about it. I feel so bad. I wish I had done more. Like, I feel guilty that that's the way it ended up. But
She's telling you, no, you can't do a ceremony. I won't have it.
Right? I won't have it.
What are you going to do? I mean, I guess.
I wasn't allowed to be in charge of her care. And it's a double-edged sword. So I understand that, like, neither side is great. But dealing with someone else who knew her for 5 years, not 36 years, and to sort of not have the respect or collaboration I felt like I deserved was really hard for me.
Yeah.
And so she was in this hospice facility and was unwell and not able to come to the wedding. And I understand.
She watched it?
She watched it on FaceTime, yeah. And I don't know how much she took in at that point, right?
Right.
The big decision was not to visit her that day. And my best friend, Christy, decided it for me. And I still believe that was the right decision.
To not see her.
Yeah, because the day before, I went in the morning and she was agitated. And we waited until she was calm before we left. And we had this big meeting with the doctors about her not being able to come the next day. I think Christy was right. If I had gone that day, I would not have been focused on my wedding, because apparently I'm kind of blacked out, but apparently our rehearsal day, I guess other people would say difficult. I think I was just, my memory of it is that Blake was trying to direct the rehearsal and I thought he was being rude to our guests, That's probably not what was happening. But in my mind, I was like, but I was quite shell-shocked from that early visit at the hospice. So I think Christy just saw that and went, oh, you'll miss your wedding. You will not be present.
I mean, I am having a hard time figuring out how you compartmentalized it all.
I have no idea. But one thing I wish we had done is maybe crept back over to the hospice on our way home after the wedding, even if it was 3 a.m. So
she never saw you in the dress in person.
So I feel really bad. She did when we bought it, and she bought it for me and all that. But at the same time, I had to remind myself, like, I've got to focus on the future too. Also, I felt bad. Like, my wonderful, loving husband had been so, involved and wrapped up, and this is his wedding too.
Yes, exactly. It's happening to him as well.
So one sort of kindness I could do was make myself as present as possible for that day. Let that day just be about us, I
mean, you hear a story like that. There's this weird push-pull.
Totally.
Of like, well, I don't have to compartmentalize what you went through, which is so hard. So hard. But mine's not even there. My mom's she's not in a hotel room. She's not over Zoom. But she's not there. So how do you honor her? Not over Zoom, not like her spirit but like her spirit. Do I honor her like memory, and talk about, do we light a candle for her? But then I also believe, just like what you said, I don't think my wedding, because my dad's going to be there, Jonathan's mom, his brother, it isn't my mom's wedding.
Yeah, and your grandma's going to be there
too.
My
95-year-old grandma. Yeah, I'm getting married on the patio of my grandma's nursing home. But yeah, it's not about, like, I want to honor my mom, and the photographer's going to take pictures of me holding her, framed photo and shit. But it's about me. It's about Jonathan.
It's about you
and
and
Jonathan. I have to remember that, right?
And you also have to remember,
so you tried to do that. You're like, this is about my love of Blake. Like,
it felt mean in some ways. It felt a little cruel, but at the same time, I was like,
doesn't that feel healthy? Even though it sounds selfish, that feels like the only way to get through it.
Well, the things I miss are not the things that would have been a public display, right? So the things I missed were being in the basement, holding her hands and letting her say the prayer that she wanted to say in front of everyone, but privately. The things I miss are us looking into each other's eyes and her holding my hands and just saying, I love you and I'm so proud of you. That's what I miss.
Did anybody hold your hand that day and tell you they're proud of you?
Yeah, my best friend, like Christy, and like one of my other best friends, Christina, like they, and yes, but it's not the same unless it's your mother. And because I knew I was losing her, I was really hoping for that last moment.
Yeah. It's so heightened. TVs,
totally.
Movies, this mythology of our mom at this thing, or we're supposed to even be married, we're supposed to wear white, we're supposed to, all of this
It's
stuff.
the private moments I miss, not the public.
Not the public. Okay.
Yeah, 100%. And then, I think when I look back and I look at my wedding album, I just want to see her. Like, I want to see a bad picture where she's literally, you just see her in the back. Now I wish I could just Photoshop her in.
You could. You could.
I'll call Joe Mazza. I could just Photoshop her in, literally in the background, as if she was walking away, or if she was I just want to see her in a conversation with somebody at the reception, right? I just want to see her sitting at the table. There were empty place cards. If you looked at my family table, there were empty seats because we didn't know until the very end.
And you just left them.
I just left them.
Do you look for her sometimes?
Yeah.
You look in the photos, you go, maybe this photo, I'll see her. Yeah.
Of course. And then we did have a wonderful wedding. I was able to let myself go for that day and have fun because I knew she wasn't going to die that day. And
why? How did you know that?
I didn't, but for the most part.
It sounds good to say.
Yeah. Or I was like, yeah, right. Or if she did, they weren't going to call me till tomorrow. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
But yes, I guess I felt like she's still going to be dying tomorrow and you only get one wedding and she didn't allow me to push it or pull it. So let's have this day that we planned and worked really hard for, you know?
It sounds cliche. It sounds cliche to say my mom wouldn't want this, like, to be canceled. As she literally told you, don't move it. I want you to have a good time. Don't visit me because I'm not looking good or feeling good.
Well, she wouldn't have said that.
She wouldn't have said that, but thinking that and her like, just go have fun. Mm-hmm. It does seem like a cliche. My mom just wants me to enjoy myself, and yet it feels like a thing you're telling yourself to give yourself permission to compartmentalize.
Well, I had to say, whether she agrees or not, this is what I need to do. You know, as a good girl who doesn't want to go against their mom, I think I got sucked into some unhealthy behavior with my mom because she definitely wanted to be my best friend, right? She was jealous of some of my other friends. Like their time was never enough, right? I think maybe that's an only child thing. I'm not sure.
You were maid of honor twice.
I was a maid of honor.
Oh my God. Did you think about her being your maid of honor? Not now in this time of her life, but I meant, was there ever a part of you that's like, she needs to be mine?
No, like reciprocity? Absolutely not. Never crossed my mind to you saying it right now. Not one bit.
Good. I don't know.
Not one iota.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's
no,
intense.
Absolutely not.
I think I texted you this, that I struggle now with like, I'm trying to pick a photographer or I'm trying to look at vendors. And there's all this language about, I'll be there for you for that first shot with your husband and ready to take that photo with your mom. And I literally want to email these photographers and say, hey, you know, check out my podcast. No, but literally say, I'm not upset. I'm not trying to be mean or, you know, I'd figure out how to say it. But here's some advice. Some of this language is really triggering, right? Mm-hmm. And I love your shots. You know, I love what your style. I'm just never going to hire you because this whole paragraph, right?
It's hard. You're not being inclusive.
And again, not being inclusive. And of course, no one's trying to hurt anybody's feelings. That's not why people send Mother's Day emails that you can now opt out of corporations, which is smart, asking you for that option.
Yeah.
But everybody throws around, right? We get it. It's our jobs. It's for me moving around the earth as a motherless child now to be able to maneuver through it. But in this heightened time of your wedding, it feels like this mom's mom. And I go to weddings. I just was at a wedding and the mom's there and everybody's, oh, she's so beautiful. And let's get photos of the mom. And Dana, have you met the mom? And I'm like, she's beautiful. Like, can't wait to meet your mom. And I love moms. I'm building a whole business around moms. I really do love moms. And yet I'm just like, must be nice at this wedding. Must be nice for the photographer to get those shots.
Before, I mean, I didn't notice any of that language on websites or whatever, but we did have meetings with our vendors before and we let them know so that they would be sensitive.
You did.
So we met with the DJ and we told her what the situation was. I said it's going to go one of two ways, right? She's going to be there and she's going to be in a wheelchair and she's going to be there really quickly, probably just for the ceremony is what we thought, or very quickly after. She'll need to rest. And I said, this is how I'm feeling about it. And this is what's hard about this wedding. And then we talked to our photographer, who's a theater guy, Joe Mazza, and we said what was going on. He was so sensitive.
Yeah.
He was amazing because he had to send pictures of everyone that like all of our family. And he freaking memorized who was who. So he walked up to my sister-in-law and said, oh, Shannon, you're
wow,
right, Blake's sister-in-law, right? I mean, it was kind of insane. Like, oh, you're Lauren's dad. Like, I mean, it was wild. I think the other thing is like, I wanted both my parents to walk me down the aisle. And that felt like a really like feminist and important thing. And so having
together, you wanted them. I
would have. Yeah. So having to just choose or having to just go with my dad felt like kind of antiquated. And I was like, I'm more feminist than that. This is wrong.
Yeah, and I don't want my dad to give me away, and he can verbally do it, but he's not going to walk me down the nursing home patio. There's no aisle. It wouldn't be an aisle. We'd make it up with like chairs. Yeah, I don't want that. But I do want my mom. I want my mom to be mentioned in the speech, but I also can't make the whole night. That's what I'm trying to say. No,
yeah, totally.
And you don't want to. She wouldn't want. Well, she would kind of want it.
She'd so mine would do it.
Yeah, give me a little energy. Give me a little focus. Give me a little spotlight. No, we have an amazing photographer coming in from Nashville, and I already love her, and she's been like totally into wanting to honor my mom through photography, but not make it modeling, not make it nostalgic, but give it this. She gets it and gets the whole moment between my grandma seeing me for the first time, which is going to be, oh my God, right?
Oh my God.
Can you
I
handle
had the
it?
same relationship with or very similar, obviously, relationship to my grandmother as you do with yours. And she didn't live quite as long, but she was like a second mother to me. But I think you have such an interesting story in that you've lost your mom, but still have your grandmother. Like that is an interesting.
Yeah. And I asked her recently, I said, I think I shared it on Instagram. Like I said, do you have any advice for me? I looked at my grandma and I said, do you have any advice for me as I get ready to get married? And she looked right at me and said, no, because you're old enough. Like you're grown.
You know what you're doing.
You know what you're doing. And I thought,
how dare you?
How dare you? How dare you? You got nothing about, love and commitment and owning a house and respect and laughing together and listening to each other. And she just was like, no, you're grown, And then later emailed me and said, because my grandma still emails. That's right.
Oh, that's amazing.
95. She can't open attachments. That's difficult.
I don't like opening attachments either.
Same. But she goes, I'm so sorry I didn't answer your question. I'm still thinking about it.
Oh.
So maybe on the day she'll turn to me and say,
offer you something.
It's all about dinner. I don't know what her advice would be. Like, don't let him cookie broccoli. I don't know what it's going to be. But she said, I'm going to keep thinking. And I said to her, and I've asked her, like, tell me about my mom on her wedding day. And she said, she wasn't difficult. She was not a diva. She kind of described a little of that, saying, your mom was great. There was no drama. And I was like, okay.
I just think like honoring your mom kind of in the moments before.
Okay.
Might feel.
Yeah.
That would be my advice.
I need your advice. That
would be my advice is like, there's a moment of communion with her, maybe just thinking about her or maybe looking at her pictures of her on her wedding day. I think you're jumping into the future, really. The choices you make it is very optimistic to get married. And speaking as someone who, in times in my life, I've been quite a realist or maybe even a cynic. And so having a baby is the ultimate in optimism, but getting married is the same, right? And allow yourself to take a step forward. Unfortunately, like though she's with you in spirit, she is part of your past, right? And yeah, don't let it be about her. This is about you and Jonathan, right? And you're her daughter. That's the other thing I thought on my wedding day. Everything, so much about me is her. So she's still here.
Yeah.
She's here.
She's walking around.
She's here.
Yeah. Her DNA is all bleeding. Yeah. And clearly now you're becoming, like you said, you're becoming her and you're.
Well, I don't know. I would pause before you say becoming.
Okay, you're right. Sorry. You're more similar. Whoa. There are more similarities now.
Yes, that I wish I could ask her about, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I wish I could ask her about what it's like to have a full-time job and a little kid, I wish I could talk to her about, just that early family life. Also, I would love to just say thanks because I know she was a single mom when I was, the age my kid is now. And it's really hard, as much as I love it, it is 100 times harder than I thought it was going to be.
And she did it with
And she did it with her mother, essentially, I guess, in the beginning, but really on her own. And I would love to sort of say, I recognize how hard that must have been. And I am so grateful for what a loving and like tactile and effusive mother you were. Like, I'm really grateful for that.
Do you say that to her in the dark of night sometimes?
Yeah, sure.
I say stuff in my bed. I say stuff walking. I say stuff in the shower. I just need to say it. And I'm saying it to myself. Some of the things, some of the forgiveness I'm saying to myself and how I forgive you and this and that. But I talk to her out loud. I don't know if that helps you. I don't do it like in front of other people.
Right.
But I try to do it privately. It'd be weird if I just did it on like the CTA train. But
well, now I'm at a place of like, how do I honor her with my kid? Right.
Sure.
So like,
through your son. Yeah.
I mean, to finish the like excruciating part of the story, she died 2 weeks after the wedding in this hospice in Illinois. And her husband.
You didn't have a honeymoon, right? You did not have anything planned, or you?
We did have it planned for 6 months later.
Oh, okay.
So because of,
I couldn't remember.
Because we knew. Well, I think in general we would have because weddings are expensive. So we were like, okay.
We don't have one. We are like, we'll go someday. Even though we're not having a huge wedding, we're still like.
But you're also moving.
We have to move and buy a house and all this. So it's like, we'll go to Europe
later
someday in our lives.
Totally.
And make out there.
So we were with her, Blake and I, that was the first 2 weeks of our marriage is like watching her slip away, right? And her husband, in hindsight,
He stayed the whole time.
we got him to leave the weekend before she died, which was to take a break because he had been away from his home for almost a month and, and he needed to go handle some things. And he, and the doctors thought it would be a little bit longer, but she took quite a turn that weekend. But I got to spend the last weekend with her alone. And I appreciate that. I'm so grateful for that. So anyway, she passed away 2 weeks after. And then, her husband, this is my belief. And there's, I don't know if I could prove it in court of law, but I just think he had already made plans in his mind for his after life, right? His after her passing. And he, 8 months to the day she died, married a friend from high school, moved back here to Illinois, made it very difficult for me to obtain her things, was very cagey about, all the business dealings around her. I felt made her memorial service so much about him. It was really challenging. There was a lot of really challenging things around that. But I also sort of never had the big blow up with him, I think I said to him, I just no longer trust you, and then just cut off communication after her service, memorial service. And then I felt like he just didn't do me right in her inheritance, in my inheritance and all that.
Right.
And I just felt like he could have handled it a different way. And she had given me some of the jewelry things way before she died because I think she knew. We'd had a conversation because she changed her trust after she was terminal, which is very there's something very suspect about that. And I remember saying to her, I was like, I don't need you to leave me anything. I really don't. I love you, but if you think that this person that you're married to is going to take care of me and going to do right by me and by you, I think you're mistaken.
What did she say to that?
She said, I think you're right. I'm sorry, but it's too late. Yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal. So all that to say, the thing I think I've learned almost 5 years out is that the end of her life was the hardest and most painful thing to get over. And now at almost 5 years, I'm finally getting back to the joy, the love, the memories that have nothing to do with this last husband, that have to do with family, that have to do with the relationship solely between the two of us. Mm-hmm. And I do wonder, though, how to present her to my son. And how to keep that alive. There's a photo and he can see that's, he's 2. He can see that's mommy's mommy, mm-hmm. right? But how can I, we live here in Illinois, we live close to my in-laws. How do we keep that alive? And just recently, my mother-in-law passed a month ago. And, he got to know her for the first 2 years of his life. And I'm watching my partner go through this.
Which is hard.
Oh, so hard. It's so hard. I knew once my mom died, though, that I would be better equipped to be, to help him through this time. So, and I hope that's true. I hope he thinks that's true as well. But we also are trying to keep, how do we keep his mom's memory alive for our child? He's an atheist and I am agnostic. And how do we present? The only thing that I've come up with so far is that I want to be honest with Bodhi and say, Grammy's body stopped working and she died. And now she's up in the stars watching over us. That's I don't want to use the terminology of heaven, but I do. He loves the moon and he loves the stars. And it's something that he's, at this point in his life is really interested in. And it's a concept he seems to be able to grasp.
Yeah. What if the moon is Blake's, your husband's mom, and the stars are your mom?
Yeah, maybe right. I have a friend who is in the same situation, but her kids she's farther along in the path. And she said definitely her kid, your 3-year-old was one day, or maybe he was 2.5, said to her oh, wait, did you have a mom? Right? It occurred to him, he'd never,
Oh, what about yours?
Right. And she was able to kind of introduce the conversation. Yeah. So maybe that will be the case for us.
But how do we keep them alive? Is it through stories, photos? Every Sunday is a story about grandma. I don't know. Or is it literally, right? How, because you just said your mom is here because she's in you, she's moving through the world. You're raising an only child as an educator. She was an educator and she raised an only child. Or you make good choices in your life in terms of men you love. And maybe it's rewriting the wrongs, but coming back to the core of who your mom was with you.
Well, I think the blessing in so many ways.
Is it just how you move? Is it you just you just set a good example, and that's how you keep her alive. But
I want him to know specifics.
I know,
too,
it's right.
And I think I was maybe. I don't know if I was even bummed. I think maybe in some respects I was very relieved to have a son and not a daughter because, that the mother-daughter relationship is so challenging, and maybe it was okay to end the martyrdom. I come from a long line of martyrs. And I think maybe it was good to sort of break that chain a little bit. But I want him to know details about her. I don't want to participate in cultural appropriation, but I do love the concept of Day of the Dead. I think that is like a lovely way of, and maybe that will be on her. We should do that on her birthday, like every January 12th. We should do
altars.
things.
I've been getting into altars as well.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, same. Like you can put anything on it. There's no rules.
Yeah.
I mean, there are depending on your religion, and like there are rules about it, but it can be anything. It can be right now. To Lauren's left in this room, there's pictures of her mom and this baby book from her son's baby book, right?
It's just a favorite. Yeah, it's one of his favorites about a mother who loves their child no matter what. Mommy, what if I become, a monster? Oh, well, I will, bring you hamburgers to eat, right? Or what if I become an alien? Oh, who wants to eat bugs instead of peanut butter? Oh, great. I'll pack your lunch with bugs instead of peanut butter, right? I mean, it's just about this mom who's, I'm going to love you no matter what, right? And that, I think my mom did project that a lot. There were things that she made difficult for me. I don't think she ever was quite supportive of me as an actor, right? Or as a performer. I don't think she could see me perform and feel the joy that I hope to feel when I see my kid, fart on stage and then I'm weeping. I want that. I hope to be that kind of mom. I think it just was all coming from a place of fear.
Yeah.
And a little bit of a place of jealousy with her because I was brave. The difference in our personalities, I think, was my mom liked living in a small town where she'd go to the grocery store and run into every freaking person she's ever met and have these wonderful conversations. That's a nightmare. I would panic. I saw you in the grocery store and I had to oh my God.
That's my dream. I'm literally like, how do I get to a small town? How do I get out of Chicago so I can be the mayor of this town?
Oh my God,
know everyone there.
That's hilarious.
But then I say this, but then within a month, I'll be like, oh my gosh, I cannot be anonymous here. They're going to know all my business, right?
But I would want to be on stage where people are watching me, and then
the attention of.
I love that,
and you love that rush,
that relationship between the audience. But in a professional capacity,
and
right?
then you leave.
Yeah, leave. We don't have to talk.
Yeah,
I can slip outside door,
and I want to go to the lobby.
Oh, you're so funny. Yeah,
I want to hug people.
I want to do that really fast. And then walk out the door. I want to thank them because I don't want to have like ingratitude or whatever.
Right.
But I also don't want to have to stand there while they have to say something about
it. And she might have been jealous of that because of why?
Well, I think she was jealous of my courage, right? Like I think
courage, sure.
I think to put myself in that position.
Being brave,
but also scared of my, would I fail and would I, thinking about your child going through that, I think is a lot. I think I have a little bit more understanding. But, there were times, definitely, I was in a show in grad school that she came to see. And I remember thinking like after my good amount of therapy, talking with her after the show and she'd go, oh, your friend Derek was so good, which was her whole jam.
Mm-hmm.
If we were in a show, she'd be like, your friend Dana, oh, she was excellent. And I said, Mom, I think this is the opportunity where you could tell me
that I was also good.
And she said, oh, it was a really hard part. Yeah.
A really hard part. You had a lot of lines to learn.
Yeah, a lot of lines. So it was like, that was the best I could get. But then I did a one-woman show that she thought was hilarious, right? Teresa Rebeck. It was like her jam, and she was most proud of that, I think, which was maybe even the last thing she saw. So that's.
But it makes sense that to being cautious or nervous. She was jealous of your bravery, but also nervous for your success. Like nervous knowing like you're so good, but the world is hard and this industry is hard.
Yes.
It's coming, right?
What?
You ready?
What?
I think I'm still going to do it.
What are you going to do?
I think I'm still going to ask you to tell me your mom's name.
Oh, yes. Oh, gosh. I didn't even think of that.
I didn't either until right now. I said, am I going to keep doing this beautiful question? And I think I should.
100%. I think that it is the thing I am, in some ways so sad to lose, right? I think when your mom has passed on, people don't ask because they don't want to stir something up in you. But the saddest part is not being asked. And then when you lose people, you don't ever get to say their name anymore, right?
No one really asks her name. They might ask about her.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Then you go, oh, well, does it really matter? I mean, you could look up her name online or whatever if you really care. But it does matter.
Put a Joe to that face.
Yeah.
It matters.
So tell me your mom's name and how you're feeling about her
All
in this
her
moment.
names.
Yes, all her names in this moment on this circular rug in Evanston, sitting across from me in real time.
Oh my God.
With pictures of your mom and your oracle cards to your right. How do you feel about her today?
I miss her so much. I feel forgiveness. I feel gratitude. I feel, I miss any phone call with any mundane details on a Tuesday, right? I mean, that's, I think at the end of the day, your mom, not for everyone, but I feel so grateful to have a mom who was, you know, my biggest champion, even if with caveats and even with some complications. My mom used to send me a Valentine when I was single every year, and I really looked forward to it because she wanted me to feel special and wanted me to know that was about love and not about romantic partnerships. And, you know, and I really appreciated that. And her name was, all her names, Anne Byer Houston Pizzi Comfort.
Comfort.
That was the last one.
Comfort.
Yeah.
For real. Yeah. Comfort. Yeah. On that note, that is comfort. Thank you for sharing. I wish you can get that tissue.
Okay.
You can do it in real time. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Blow it. Blow it. There we go. You hear that? Are we getting this ASMR? Are we getting this ASMR? When we were working on this episode, I told my editor, when in doubt, always go out on laughter because tissue nose blowing ASMR always wins. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you for talking to me on and off the mic. You are a good friend. Thank you for your wisdom, your heart, your humor, your guidance. It's so appreciated. Thank you, friend. So I did it. I said, yes, I got married. Yep. On the patio of my Nana's nursing home on a beautiful Saturday in June, this past June. We had incredible weather. We stood under a pretty tree in front of 8 of our immediate family as the entire nursing home cafeteria of residents and the staff watched on. And I heard later that many of the residents loved seeing it and that they only wished that they could have heard the vows too. So I guess we should have streamed it, for the inside crowd. We had pastries, we had a champagne toast afterwards on the patio, and my Nana was all smiles. She wore a new shirt from Black and White Market that had butterflies on it. She borrowed earrings from my friend Isabel, and my grandma got a +1. Her best friend Joni came. She specifically loved my purse, my grandma, and I had to remind her that it was originally hers. It was a cream-colored beaded box, a handheld purse from the 60s. I pointed out the gold comb in my hair, and I told her that it was Mom's. We smiled at each other, an unspoken moment. Jonathan and I then took photos after the ceremony in this grassy middle area with trees. It's between the independent living area of this facility, where my Nana has lived for over 20 years, and the nursing home part, where she is now. This facility, this plot of land, I have visited so much in my life. I've come here with my mom, I've come here with my dad, boyfriends, friends. It's a part of me. And we were running a bit behind schedule after the ceremony, so we had to get to the city for this big reception with friends, but I knew I wanted at least a few more of those glamour Vogue shots, the ones where the wind is blowing and I'm looking back at the camera as we walk away in the grass. And no one would ever know this isn't a beautiful field on a farm, but it's not where I thought some of my favorite wedding photos would be taken. I also never thought I would get married, but there we were, off Manchester Road in Wheaton, Illinois, posing in the grass next to my 95-year-old Nana's nursing home patio, and it all felt right. I remember when we decided to have the ceremony be small and at my Nana's place, my dad made sure to ask us, are you doing this for your Nana or for you? And the answer was both. I knew I needed the ceremony to be about Jonathan and I, for us to keep it small and just focus on each other. But I also knew I needed my Nana to be a witness. Oh, and that photo that I said I was going to have the photographer take of me holding a photo of my mom as I got ready in the hotel room. I never brought a photo of my mom with me that weekend. Maybe subconsciously in all the chaos and the packing and getting ready for the big day, I forgot. But I think I knew. And I think she knew that this wasn't her day. But that morning, before all the chaos began, at 8 a.m., alone in my hotel room, waiting for my groom to return with a coffee and a croissant, I walked out on the balcony in my robe. I love a good robe. Took a deep breath and told my mom I loved her out loud. I then asked her to give me strength and asked her to help me stay present and take it all in. I then pulled an oracle card by Sarah Greenman. Shout out. I love oracle cards. They're so fun and pretty to look at. Because sometimes you got to get witchy, you know what I mean? Even on your wedding day. And the card was called Nest. The card said that home need not be a physical place or the location where you currently live. It may be a childhood home or a mountain or simply an idea of a place that dwells within us. This card is calling us to seek the comfort and safety of that home. It's time to turn in and go hearthside. In the early morning light of my wedding day, alone, I turned to her, my only mother. It felt intimate and private. It was just for us. And then I turned towards my new husband and all the people waiting to celebrate with us. And I also ate a really good croissant. The second season of I Swear on My Mother's Grave podcast would never be possible without our Amanda Roscoe Mayo, our music composer Adam Ollendorf, our graphic designer and illustrator Meredith Montgomery, and our copywriter Rachel Claff. Thanks as well to Tony Howell and Austin Heller for all their work on the website, and to Heather Bodie for her emotional, spiritual, social, and physical, for all the help. Thank you. And to all of you, thank you for listening, subscribing, reaching out, and just being a part of this community. I'm so grateful you're here. And if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, you can do so at our website, which is danablack.org. You can hear all about this incredible season and some upcoming live events we're curating just for you. I hope you'll come back. Come back, come back. Don't leave me like my dead mom. You know what I mean? Come back. Talk to you soon.